Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick video on how to edit the podcast. Be great to get you guys just quickly editing that at the end of a Sunday meeting. It's really straightforward, and I'm just going to run you through it now. So I'm up in the tech booth, and obviously here's the Mac. And the first thing you need to do is stop the podcast recording if it hasn't already. So down here, just to the right of the computer, we've got our podcast recorder, which is this thing here. So this thing with the little screen and stuff. If it's still recording, these numbers will be still going up, and all we have to do is press stop here, and that will stop it. You might have to press it twice, but you'll see it should be pretty obvious. And then you're going to get the memory card out. So this little black flap here, it just pulls down, and you just push in the card like that, and it pops out. You can just pull it out of there, and then you just shut the door just to keep it tidy. So we've got our memory card, and then we're going to come back up to the Mac, which is where we're going to edit it. So we just need to cut the ends off and add in the intro, and we're just going to put it into the memory card slot on the back of the Mac, which is here but on the back, so it's a little bit awkward to find, but it's like there. So you just have to sort of feel your way in, and it goes in that bit first. So okay, so now we're on the computer. We're going to just save it from the memory card onto the desktop. So if you come down here to the Finder button, which is the smiley face one there, we're going to come into the memory card, which is here, the Wight podcasts. Just click on that, and then you can. So it looks a bit confusing like that. So I just filter it by as a list, so you can look at the details of it, and then you can sort it by date modified. So we're going to just edit this one from the 12th of December. So you can just right click on that, go copy, go into the desktop, go podcasts, go into raw files, and you can just save it in there. So right click and can't do it like that. So if you just press Windows and V, that just pastes it in, and that's just going to copy it into there. It hasn't actually pasted it into the raw file, so we'll just move that in a minute. That'll be fine. There we go. So we just double click on there, open it up, find the right one. Here we go. So that's the one that we want to edit today, which is the 12th of the 12th, 2021. And then what we're going to do, we're going to edit it in Audacity. So open up Audacity, which is this one with the yellow and red zigzags and the headphones over the top. Just open that up. Then really simply, we're just going to drag in the file we want to edit. We're just going to click and drag it into Audacity. Sometimes you have to, oh, there we go, it's doing it, so it's just loading up. That'll just take a minute or so, a couple of minutes.
And basically what we're dropping in here is a complete recording of the entire meeting. So we've got our worship, our welcome and info, giving, preach, the response, absolutely everything. But obviously we don't want to post everything online, we just want to post the preach. So we're going to use this software to kind of cut down all the bits that we don't want, so we're left with just the preach. So we've got our entire thing here. First we're going to select our selection tool up here, and we can left click around our recording and hit spacebar to play from that point. So I can hear that's in worship. You've also got some zoom in and zoom out tools here. They'll become quite handy. And basically what we're going to do is find the start point of the preach. That will hopefully begin with some applause as the preacher comes on stage, or maybe some silence before they start speaking. So I heard Simon talking, so I know it's probably just before here. Great, so there's some applause there, so I'm going to select that point. Next, what we're going to want to do is delete everything before this point. To do this, keep your selection tool. I'm going to zoom out so I can see everything. And if you go up to your selection that you've made and move it just to the right of it, you'll have this arrow which is pointing left. If you left click and drag everything to the left, and then hit backspace, it will delete everything before our selection point. So now if I click play, we're starting with just the applause in the beginning of the preach, which is exactly what we want. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing for the end. Hopefully your preacher will pray and say amen to end, or maybe hand back to the site pastor. So we're going to find an endpoint. There we go. So Simon said amen. So that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is... Great, so it's just here. And now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to select everything to the right of our point. So again, using the selection tool, everything to the right, delete. Great, now all we're left with is our preach section. A next little step which is helpful to do, you can see up here we've got audio monitoring section. So when I play it, it will show the level of the audio coming in. We want our audio to be about this -12 point. You can actually see there it shows where it was when I paused it. If you need to adjust it, maybe make it a bit louder or a bit quieter. On your track over this side, you've got a audio level control, so I can bring this. If I play it, I can put it right down. You can't hear anything, or all the way up, and it's clipping way too much. So I probably don't really need to change this. Maybe bring it up a tiny bit. There we go, 0.1, and I'm happy with that, so that's fine. So we'll leave that there, and then we can move on to adding our intro. Every Care of podcast has a site-specific intro, so when you're listening, it will just welcome you to the podcast, and we're going to add that in. So if we go back into our Care podcast Dropbox, there's a folder here called podcast intros. Again, it's site-specific, so go to whichever site you need. I'm going to go to Bracknell. I've got my intro here. I'm just going to drag it and drop it into Audacity, same as I did before. Great, and it's brought it in. So if I was to play that, both of these would play at the same time because they're both starting at the beginning, which is obviously what we don't want. We want the intro to start and then the preach. So in order to make this happen, we're going to go over and select this. It's called the time shift tool. We're going to select that and then select our audio recording at the top. And if you left click, you can move around and drag around to your recording. What we're going to do is just nudge this up to the end of the intro, and you can see there's a nice yellow line and it will snap into place. That's great. So if we let that snap into place, and if I select my selection tool again, select the beginning of this recording, hit play. I've got an intro playing. And then hopefully Simon's preach should start straight away. Great, there we go, and straight into Simon's preach. That's exactly what we want. So now our podcast is ready to export. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to File, hit Export, export as MP3, and then back in our Care of Podcast Dropbox, there's a folder labelled as Done, and we're going to drop it in here. And what we're going to name it is a preaching series, if it was one. Let's say this is baptisms. The preach title, if there's one. Let's say this is growing in faith. Then the preacher's name. So this is Simon Benham. Sorry, these are in capitals. It doesn't need to be in caps, but. And then the day, the month, and the year. So let's say this is the 11th of the 6th, 2019. Then we're going to hit save. Your tracks will be mixed down and exported as one stereo file. We're going to click OK. All that means is that our two files here are going to be squashed into one track. So that's exactly what we want. OK. And then you don't need to worry about this. We're just going to go ahead and click OK. Great. So we can see that is now starting to export. And then that will export into our Care of Podcasts Done folder. And then now we can move on to uploading it online. Great. So now we've edited the audio recording, we're now ready to start uploading it online. So to do this, we use a website called Spreaker.com. So if we go online, type up Spreaker, go to Spreaker.com. We're going to go up to the right-hand corner up here, select login, and then the login details are attached in the guides, which are in the Dropbox. But the username is production@kerif.church, and then the password is kerif0312. So we're going to go ahead and sign in. Now we're inside Spreaker. We're going to go up to the top right-hand corner up here. This is our profile. I'm going to select the drop-down and then go down to Dashboard. Now we're going to select this first box here and upload new episode. Here it gives you the option to select a podcast. We're going to click on this drop down, and here you can see all of the list of all of the Kerif podcasts. So you're going to select the site podcast which you want to upload to. So actually this is a Kerif Bracknell PM that I'm using. And then now we're going to actually upload the audio recording. So you can either drag it and drop it in or click here and select it. So I've clicked in there. I'm going to go to our Kerif podcasts, done, and there we go. We've got that audio recording that we just had. So we're going to open it and hit upload. Great, so you can now see at the top corner that is starting to upload. Now we're in a section where we've got the choice to change some of the details for the podcast. So we've got a title up here, and the reason we named it what we did when exporting it is because we also want to use that exact same name for Spreaker. So it just makes it really simple. It means you don't really have to change anything. So we can leave that as it is because we've already called it that. If for any reason you haven't named it that when exporting, then just make sure you change the title to the preaching series or the specific Sunday, the preach title, the preacher, and then the day, month, year. Cool. Now we're going to scroll down again, and you can see here that there is a section for description. So in Planning Center each week in the preach, if you click on the preach, you will be able to see in the details section a section giving a short summary of the preacher's preach for that week. What you can do is just copy and paste that and drop it into here. So I won't do that right now, but yeah, so go ahead and copy and paste it and drag it into here. So once you've done that, you can go down. You see you've got an option for a picture here. Now this is really cool. What we can basically do is select individual images based on the series or what specific message it is. So if we go to upload new image, and if you go into the Kerif Podcast Dropbox, which we've been working out of, you'll see there is a folder called Series Artwork, and there will be a couple of different images in here to use based on the series that we're currently in. If for any reason it is just say a normal site Sunday or a one-off meeting, you can just leave this as it is, and it will have that Kerith, say Bracknell PM or BV podcast logo, and you can leave that. But let's say this was a part of our Pray series. I know I said baptisms, but we've not got the baptism photo. Let's say it's part of our Pray series. We can click Pray, open it up, and there you go. You can see it drops in the nice logo there. But for now, just going to get rid of that just so it says Kerif PM podcast. Great. So you've uploaded an image, and now scrolling down again, we've got a section here for tags. Now, what this does is we can essentially tag our podcast with things which just make it easier to find when searching for it. So what we're going to tag these with is the first name of the preacher, so Simon, then a space, and that'll add it as a tag. Last name, so Benham, space, and then the series. We said this was baptisms, so space. Great. And that is our tags done. Scrolling down again once more, you can leave these sections as they are. You don't need to change any of that. So now we can go all the way down to the bottom and hit publish now. Yes, I do want to publish. And we can see here that we have now published it online. The only thing you might have to do is if for any reason you are posting the podcasts after the day that they were recorded on. So normally you'll be doing this on a Sunday afternoon, but let's say for any reason you were doing it on a Monday. What you can do is once you've published it here, if you go to this pencil icon here, this is edit. This brings us back into this page. Once you've uploaded it and go back into here, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you've got this publish date section. Now what you could do is change the date to the Sunday that it was uploaded on. So you could change the date to the Sunday and then the time of the meeting. So actually, I mean, if you're uploading it on the Sunday afternoon, you could feel free to still go in and change the time to, if you're at BV, say 10:30, or Bracknell 9:30, you could change it to 9:30. It's just a nice little way of having another detail of the podcast. But that is it. That is how to edit and upload a KRF podcast. Once you've put it on into this section, that will now automatically go out onto the KRF website and onto Spotify and iTunes, which is really, really cool. You don't have to do anything else. Let us know if you have any other questions. The guides are attached in the podcast guides folder in Dropbox. But yeah, let us know how you get on. Thanks, guys.